presents the National Football League. Today, from County Stadium in Milwaukee, it's the New York Jets versus the Green Bay Packers. Brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by Castrol Motor Oil, engineered for smaller cars.
A sellout crowd, better than 55,000 at Milwaukee County Stadium for the Jets and the Packers. Marv Albert and Bob Greasy, both teams at 1-1, both coming off impressive victories. And we are set for the opening kickoff. The Jets won the toss. They will receive. Al Del Greco getting set to kick away to the combination of Johnny Hector and Kirk Springs. And Hector takes to the 10, 20. Broke a tackle, penalty marker down as Charlie Martin stopped Hector after the Pack missed a tackle. So we open up with a flag. And it's against the Jets. Bob Frederick and his crew working the game this afternoon. As you look at the Jet offensive unit, Ken O'Brien coming off a good one, 16 for 24, 2 touchdowns against Buffalo last week. And it's called a hold on Rusty Gilbo as you look at that offensive alignment. Reggie McElroy in the starting lineup. He and Marvin Powell returning to the Jet lineup last week after holding out throughout preseason. So the Jets open up first down back at the 10. And this is McNeil. And he was closed up by John Anderson. The Packer defense with Mike Butler, Charlie Martin, is Rick Johnson up front. Johnson with a 2-sack performance against the Giants last week. Good linebackers. Mike Douglas back in the lineup. He hurt his shoulder opening day, played briefly last week. And in the secondary, Tom Flynn, the leader back there, free safety. Last year, 9 interceptions to lead the NFC. Loss of the yard. It'll be 2nd and 11. And again, McNeil. A short pickup. Randy Scott, the inside linebacker, making the tackle. And Bob, obviously, the Green Bay Packers very intent on putting the brakes on Freeman McNeil.
Well, they know, as we said in the earlier, Marv, the key is Freeman McNeil right here. And he's going to run mostly away from where he lines up. The Packers will try and slant away from where he is, making it difficult for him to run the football. So wherever he lines up, if he lines up right, they'll slant left. If he lines up left, he'll slant right. They're not worried about the other back in the offensive backfield.
3rd down and 7. And O'Brien with time, able to hit Hector. Johnny Hector picking up the first down. Guy Prather, who played very well against the Giants last week, on the tackle, a 13-yard pickup.
The big play for the offense. The Jets, good protection to pick up the first down, 3rd down situation in the ball game. Here you see he looks deep. Nobody is there dropping off in their zone coverage. It's Hector with a little move to pick up the first down. Big first down coming out of your own end zone.
First down at the 26. Sodas to the left. Council right. And McNeil is stopped. Mike Douglas, the outside linebacker, on the tackle. In that 3rd down play a moment ago, we saw the NFL debut of Mossy Cade as the nickel back. He played with Memphis in the USFL, and the Packers acquiring the rights to Cade. There's Mossy from the San Diego Chargers.
#1 draft choice 2 years ago. The Chargers couldn't sign him. They like him here in Green Bay. Very quick. They're going to work him into the defense.
2nd down and 8. Nice play action as O'Brien fires and broken up. Penalty flag down. Tim Lewis, the right corner, on the coverage against Kurt Sohl.
I don't know who he's going to call on this because the offensive man was going for the ball. If anybody, they're going to call defensive interference.
Packers a bit upset. Tim Lewis, who picked off 7 last year. What a combination between Lewis and Flynn. 9 interceptions for Flynn, 7 for Lewis.
Defensive pass interference. Defensive pass interference.
And that will cost the Packers 27 yards.
That's a big play right off the bat. The ruling this year is if the defensive man is looking back for the ball, he can be a little bit tougher. This time Lewis does not see the ball, and the receiver goes back and tries to make a play. They actually called him running into the receiver, defensive interference.
First down at the 45 from Green Bay territory, and again, McNeil with nowhere to go. The strong safety, number 37, Mark Murphy, making the tackle.
This is a tough interference call for the defensive back. He does not see the ball. He doesn't do anything. The receiver stops and starts coming back. Maybe that left arm. He sticks that left arm, sees him trying to come back and make the play. I think he called that left arm going out to block him from coming back in.
Second down and 9. Brendan McNeil held in check to this point. And again, the good protection. And now O'Brien hauled down. Mike Douglas getting to the quarterback.
Good coverage in the secondary that time, or man-to-man coverage. O'Brien had time to throw. Nobody was open. Sacked by the Packers.
So Mike Douglas, a very underrated, overlooked player. Lack of exposure has not helped. He is one of the NFL's best. And I don't think too many folks around the country have heard of Mike Douglas in his 8th season out of San Diego State.
They like him in Green Bay. They think he does makes a lot of big plays, makes in a lot of sacks. He's very quick, very agile, gets in there and makes some plays. They move him around a lot. Good defensive player.
Aussie Cade back as the nickel, 3rd down and 11. O'Brien looking to air it out along the sideline. Nice catch, but he's out of bounds. Council out of bounds. It is incomplete.
O'Brien steps up in the pocket, throws this ball really the only place he can. He has to throw it high and outside, just a little bit too far. 1 foot down, the other one got out of bounds.
And Dave Jennings on for the first time. Had a good day against Buffalo last week. Jennings back inside his 40-yard line, and he will kick away to a rookie out of Mesa College, 4th-round draft pick. There he is, Walter Stanley. Had some trouble handling the ball on kickoffs last week against the Giants, and Forrest Gregg made a change going to Philip Epps. Good hang time by Jennings. And they could not keep it out. Donnie Elder got a hand on it, so it carries in. When we resume, Green Bay will take over at the 20 off the 46-yard punt by Jennings. Offense led by 15-year veteran Lynn Dickey out of Kansas State, 35 years old, will be 36 in October. And they have the burners in James Lofton, Philip Epps, and an all-pro tight end in Paul Kaufman. Carl Swanky did an excellent job last week against Lawrence Taylor and the Giants. The center, Mark Cannon. First down from the 20. No score with 4 minutes gone by in this first quarter. And a fumble. Jets have recovered. So off the opening snap, a mix-up.
Cannon, just a second-year player for Forrest Gregg. His 11th round draft choice last year. First snap of the ball game. Man in motion. Klecko caught offside. I think that's what bothered him. Cannon, number 58, has never seen Klecko situated that way, and I think he tried to snap the ball and turn the block a little bit too quickly. Dickey never got full control of the football.
And Kyle Clifton on the recovery, so a big break for the Jets. They take over at the Green Bay 18-yard line. McNeil, that time able to pick his way inside the 15. Mike Douglas on the stop.
And Marv, I can remember when Klecko first came into the league. Jim Langer, our all-pro center for so many years with the Dolphins, said at the time when he was a rookie, he is going to be a fine football player for a long time in this league. Klecko is still very quick, and I'm sure that Cannon, seeing him for the first time today, was concerned with that offset of his at alignment.
And Joe Klecko has had a couple of lives as a player. He has been injured on several occasions, making it back in a big way now as a nose tackle. Second down and 5 McNeil dancing. Short yardage. Charlie Martin, the nose tackle on the stop.
82, Mickey Schuler, known for his pass catching. Let's see what he does on the block. He's pulling and trying to get a block on Butler. Mike Butler doesn't get it, but Butler's so worried about him that he overruns and McNeil gets behind him. Those tight ends don't like to come down and block those big defensive ends. They said, scoot me out, flex me out, let me go down for a pass.
And a 3rd down and 5 at the Green Bay 13. That's Schuler changing his mind, lining up in the slot, and there was obvious confusion, Bob, because O'Brien looks to talk it over.
Well, you saw him look at Schuler. He didn't like Schuler going in motion. We'll be right back after this message. There are times you put a man in motion, Mickey Schuler, to try and influence the defense, and there are times when you don't want him to go in motion. Obviously, Ken O'Brien says, the defense didn't do what we thought they were going to do, or I don't like what I'm seeing. I'm going to call a timeout here.
So it's a 3rd down and 5 at the 13. Product out of the University of Wisconsin. Al 2 now lined up, flanked to the right side, in the slot to the right. That is Council in motion. And here's McNeil with a good block. And has the 1st down. The left corner, Mark Lee, on the bump to stop Freeman McNeil.
This is what we were talking about in our scouting report. Running strong side or to the tight end. Schuler this time with a good block on Butler. That's all you need. Just hold him at the line of scrimmage. And for Freeman McNeil running towards the tight end, they obviously weren't slanting that way that time.
And Dan Alexander, the right guard, led the way. 1st and goal at the 5. Townsell to the left side. And now Rocky Cleaver lined up as the tight end. That time, good pursuit by the Packers, led by Brian Noble, stopping McNeil.
It's a big hit by Brian Noble. You know, Noble led the Packers in tackles in the preseason. He's a 5th-round draft choice out of Arizona State. Cuts right through the opening. The guard was pulling, and he ran through. Noble in there playing in place of George Cumby because he has a little bit more size, bigger, and tougher against the run.
Number 91, Brian Noble. 5th-round draft pick, rookie out of Arizona State. Freeman McNeil, 8 carries, 18 yards. O'Brien looking end zone. And seemed to change his mind. He could not find anyone and went the short route to McNeil. Well, the Dallas Cowboys beating the Cleveland Browns, who come off the victory on Monday night, 20-7 final. So Dallas now 2-1. Pittsburgh over Houston, 20-0. Well, the Oilers, after the good opening day performance against Miami, now 1-2.
They're still a lot better than they were last year. Warren Moon's a year further along, and he's going to be a good quarterback.
It is a 3rd and goal outside the 5. O'Brien, touchdown. Good improvisation by Ken O'Brien, finding Tony Page, who caught one last week. His 3rd touchdown of the season. And a break off that fumble snap on Green Bay's first play from scrimmage, and the Jets able to cash in.
A good offensive team taking advantage of a turnover here. O'Brien may not have been able to make this play last year. Worked in the offseason with Zeke Bratkowski, moving around within the pocket. Not a great scramble. That wasn't a great scramble, but it was enough to buy him some time for Page to get open. Page was probably the 3rd or 4th receiver on that pattern.
And Pat Leahy adds the extra point. 7 minutes have gone by in this first quarter here in Milwaukee, and the Jets leading the Packers by the score of 7-0. The New York Jets leading the Green Bay Packers 7-0. And that fumbled snap on the exchange between Cannon and Dickey led to the touchdown. This is Walter Stanley on the return, hurdling his way. What a move by Stanley, the rookie from Mesa College. Finally hauled down by backup tight end Billy Griggs. Stanley was taken off the kickoff return team after a couple of problems last week, so here he is right back and does a nice job.
It's a fourth-round draft choice. They're high on him, drafted primarily as a kick returner, but is looking good as a wide receiver. Griggs, 81, makes a saving tackle, because if he breaks that tackle, he's on one-on-one with Glenn, 35, and he may have broke that tackle all the way.
34-yard return by Stanley. Green Bay first down at their 34-yard line. Play action, and Dickey airs it out, but overthrows James Lofton. So Lynn Dickey, who likes to throw the home run ball, that time a bit off the mark.
Second and 10.
The Jets out of the 3-4, Marty Lyons, Joe Klecko, and Barry Bennett up front. We'll see much of Mark Gastineau still playing with that broken thumb. There are the linebackers, the converted defensive end Ron Perot at the outside mark on the right, and that secondary hurting. Bobby Jackson playing with a pulled hamstring. Johnny Lynn can play, but he's bothered by a thumb injury and a pulled groin. Second and 10 for the Pack. Dickey goes sideline, but no one in sight. The closest to the ball was Philip Epps. So it'll be a third down play from the 34.
The key for the Packers, they've got to throw the football. And when a team throws the football so much, you've got to be able to throw screens. They throw an option screen where they key this linebacker, and he drops back to either throw it to the wide receiver or to the back, depending on where this linebacker goes.
And a third down play, third and 10. And Dickey throwing deep. It was nearly picked off by Kerry Glenn, who came up with an interception and a return for a touchdown last week against Buffalo. And mixed reaction from the crowd off that Packer series.
Key for the Packers is they have to throw the football. They have not been running it that well. And coming into the ball game, Dickey knows that the Jets are going to get after him on the pass rush. He threw that ball before he had to. He's a little jittery in the pocket right now. He has not settled down. Missed a lot of preseason work and admits that he's not as calm as he should be. He threw the last two balls very quickly.
Joe Prokop, a name that is familiar to fans in New York because he was in the punting battle in the Giant camp. That time not a good one, but gets the roll. And Minter has to let it go, hoping it would land in the end zone.
The touchback.
Yep, the Packers put it in.
In the USFL, that might be a touchback. I mean, might be on the one, but Mossy Cage slid with the ball into the end zone, and it comes back out to the 20. Plenty of time for the Packers just to knock it back inside. First man down does a job with it west, but Mossy Cage slides in, ball on the 20.
Back in Milwaukee, Freeman McNeil, the ball carrier, as the Jets open up from their 20-yard line. That bad punt by Prokop getting the roll goes for a 66-yarder. Check of the scoreboard. The Giants bouncing back from the loss to the Packers last week and knock off St. Louis in a shootout. Denver over Atlanta playing the fourth quarter. Philadelphia knocking off Washington 19-6. Second down at 7. And here is O'Brien. It is incomplete. Intended for McNeil. Back to the scoreboard. Talk about shootouts.
you used shootout on the last one. What are you going to use for this one, huh?
And New England just nipping Buffalo. So Buffalo's been up and down. They play San Diego well. They get involved in a close one this week after last week's blowout. And Indianapolis knocking off Detroit.
What a shocker.
Going in.
The Jets' opponent next week. And as we were talking about coming over to the park today, Marv, the Jets may have trouble next week. Indianapolis not really as bad as everybody thinks they are.
Third down and 7. And the swing for Sohn. He's written out by the right corner, Tim Lewis. Kurt Sohn had a big day last week against Buffalo. Best day as a pro. 6 catches, 56 yards, including a touchdown. But when the Jet receivers get well, like Kurt Sohn could be in trouble, despite the fact that he's off to a fine start.
Exactly right. You're only going to keep 5 at the most, and you have Wesley Walker coming back, Bobby Humphrey and Lamb Jones. You're going to keep Townsell and Altoon. That's 5 right there. No other injuries. You never know.
Walter Stanley awaiting the punt from Dave Jennings. So Jennings will punt for the second time today. Awaits the snap back at the 10-yard line. 6.5 remaining. First quarter. Jets lead it by the score of 7-0. Here's Stanley. Good coverage by the Jets, but flags are thrown. You can see Stanley looking to get the acceleration, backing up, and then ready to go. A 38-yard punt and a 6-yard return. Well, last week we had more than our share of penalties called against the Jets in Buffalo, but we're well behind the pace of a week ago.
What, the Jets have, what, 14 penalties last week, and the Bills said 13?
Head coach Joe Walton awaiting the call. And
what they might be discussing right now is if the receiving team on the kick had a defensive interference before or after the ball was kicked, that makes a big difference, because if it's after the ball is kicked, they keep possession. If it was before and it's defensive holding, it goes back to the Jets' first down.
We had an illegal block on the kick return. We had an ineligible man downfield on the kicking team, and the down will be replayed at the previous spot.
And head coach Forrest Gregg looking to sort it out. So, once again, the Jets will punt. They move it back down to the 25-yard line, and Dave Jennings will drop back to his 10 once again. The Jets lead it 7-0. 5-yard touchdown pass play. O'Brien to Page, capitalizing on a Green Bay turnover. Fumbled snap off the first play from scrimmage. Mix up between the center Cannon and the quarterback Dickey. Now Stanley comes up for it. Call for the fair catch. Penalty flag down. He called for the fair catch and was walloped by the rookie Matt Munger. There was a flag thrown prior to the fair catch.
That's probably going to be defensive holding. And if it is before the punt, as I was talking about before this last punt, it'll be a first down for the Jets. But this play will nullify it.
And Matt Munger hearing it from the crowd. I don't think there was any question that Stanley clearly waved fair catch.
Well, the new rule this year is you have to wave your arm from side to side. Now you can't just hold it up in the air. And there's no question that a fair catch was called.
Matt Munger, 8th round draft pick from Oklahoma State, leveling Walter Stanley.
Double foul. The officials get together and discuss the different opportunities and things that will. Munger is all right. Here we'll see. He's waving his hand. Well, he didn't really wave it real well, but that's maybe what they're discussing also. Did he wave it well enough side to side to signal a proper fair catch?
Well, that was after the I thought he gave a pretty good sign that was a fair catch.
I thought they gave him enough chance to catch a football too, Marv. I mean, the timing on it was pretty good.
We had a foul on the kicking team running into the receiver before the ball arrived, and we also had a face mask on the receiving team. We will replay the down.
It is yet another do-over. Shades of a week ago.
Another double foul. We saw the defensive back that was covering the wide receiver going down, obviously grabbed a hold of his face mask. And then that call on the waving of the arm was a pretty close call on the fair catch, and also on Munger's hit.
And Green Bay coach Forrest Gregg continuing the discussion. Walter Stanley apparently all right after he took that shot. And once again, Dave Jennings, who may be a tired punter by the end of this first quarter, unleashes. And here's Stanley. And he got confused. He was about to call for the catch. And it carries down to the 15, but another flag down. This one a 59-yard punt, if it stands.
This is just a big mistake by Stanley, the rookie, letting the ball go. They lose about 25 yards.
And again, Bob Frederick, the referee, conducting the discussion. We have not seen much football these last couple of minutes.
We've seen 3 punts.
Personal foul on number 26 of the kick return team, and it will be a 15-yard penalty, a blow to the opponent's
right
face.
corner. Lewis called on the personal foul.
Take another look at Stanley. Now, just the play before, he was racked, and racked pretty good. He has the ball in sight and then lets it bounce. Does a smart thing in staying away from it, but he should have been up there to make the catch. He loses 20 to 25 yards on that roll and puts his team back inside their own 10-yard line.
Do you think he may have been a little gun-shy?
I don't think he was gun-shy on that one. He had plenty of time to catch it. They were 10, 15 yards. I think the ball started coming away from him when it started coming down.
So the Green Bay Packers back at their 8-yard line, opening this series. This is Jesse Clark across the 15. Clark had a good one against the Giants last week, 65 yards, 13 carries. Check of the scoreboard going into today. The Mets 2 games behind St. Louis, but the Mets not able to take advantage of the Cardinals losing, although a long way to go in both ball games. Yankees going in 6.5 behind, and KC in California were even going into today's play. I didn't catch those AL West scores. We'll have to check them again. Ooh. Here's Clark.
Clark, the ball carrier.
Stopped by Kyle Clifton. And they spotted at the 17-yard line. It looks to be a 2nd and 1. Oh, there it is. Fella's a little too quick for me. Minnesota leading Kansas City 5-1, and Cleveland over California 5-4. KC and California in a tie going in. Incidentally, nothing
3rd and 1.
later to report on Billy Martin's activities with Ed Whitson. There's no truth to the report that it will be a best 2 out of 3. Whitson winning the first. Clark has the first down. Clifton on the stop.
You don't think they'll be sharing seats together on the bus back to the airport?
Packers ball, first down.
Miami and Kansas City are no score in the second.
That's a surprise with all the fireworks, the offensive explosiveness of both teams. 0-0 through the first quarter.
First down for Green Bay from the 22. 4:25 to go. First quarter. Jets lead 7-0. And again, we will hear from Bob Frederick.
Ball start on the offense, number 65, and
That's
first
the
down
right
will be
guard,
repeated.
Ron Hallstrom. Guy who emerged as a standout last year, #1 draft pick out of Iowa 4 years ago.
And he's a big one, too, Marv. Forrest Gregg told us that he likes his offensive linemen big. They all weigh up over 260, 265. And I think 2 or 3 of them weigh in the 280s.
Hallstrom at 6'6", about 285. Eddie Lee Ivory now in the backfield. It's Ivory in motion. And here's Clark turning the corner. And he bumped out at the 24. Clifton and Hamilton combining.
Hamilton made the tackle.
2nd and 8 for Green Bay. The Packers come in with a record of 1-1, lost at New England 26-20 on opening day. Although the final score did not indicate how bad it was for Green Bay, and last Sunday, Packers beat the Giants 23-20. Dickey with time, and almost intercepted by Kirk Springs. the pass intended for Philip Epps.
Intended for Epps. Glenn covering on the play.
Kurt Springs almost making the play. Number 73, Klecko, and Cannon, 58. He's offset again. Cannon gets his arms out, which is legal for an offensive lineman. Gets a little help from Hallstrom. Do a good job, or it was 31 Ellis that was helping him out.
Dickey is now 0 for 4. Third down and 8. Some jumping, as you saw. Flag thrown, and Dickey, after stepping up, hits Lofton and has the first down. And he did it against Bobby Jackson. 27-yard advance. Let's see what the penalty is all about. In the course of the week, Jackson was complaining about some of the hot dog moves, as he put it, of James Lofton, watching the tapes of the Giant-Packer game of a week ago.
Well, Lofton, he's a sprinter, and a lot of times these sprinters don't like to get hit. He gets hit and popped a few times. He doesn't like it a lot.
Offside of the defense, and the foul, penalty of the foul will be refused.
So the penalty on the Jets. Vic Klein, ball spotted at midfield.
Right here, Barry Bennett is going to be the man that jumps off sides. The Cadence drawing him off right there. Tries to get back. Not that quick. Talking with Forrest Gray, he said that the man that he's really concerned about is Bennett. He was impressed at how well Bennett was rushing the passer. Of course, he also said Klecko and also Gastineau.
Play action. And Dickey throwing short. He has the running back, Clark. Oh, able to ride off a good hit from Kurt Springs. And has the first down. 11-yard pass play, and the Packers beginning to make their move. There's a Jet player hurt. Jet player is down. It's Gastineau shaken up.
Looks like he's holding that hand. Looks like he hurt his hand again. Broken right thumb. It seems like the cast on that hand has gotten smaller and smaller each week. He seems to be in a great deal of pain. Joe Walton obviously concerned. That's tough to play as a defensive. He's had 3 sacks already this year with only one hand to grab hold of the defense with, but it's very tough to rush the passer when you only have one good hand.
Apparently he and Packer running back Gary Ellis were involved in a collision, and Ellis made contact with the thumb. It's Bob Reese in the sunglasses, the Jet trainer. So Mark Gastineau shaken up. And no compassion being shown by this crowd here in Milwaukee as Gastineau departs. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Green Bay Packers and the National Football League is prohibited. Marv Albert with Bob Greasy on a 72-degree muggy day in Milwaukee. 3:17 remaining in the first quarter, and the Jets leading Green Bay 7-0. Packers first down at the Jet 38. Clark and Ellis are the running backs. It's in motion, and here's Ivory. Hard driving move by Eddie Lee Ivory, who is recovering from a broken thumb. In fact, playing with a splint on his thumb. Made his return last week against the Giants.
They're just trying to ease him back in the offense. You see him going off the field. They need his productive. He needs his shake and bake. He has some excitement when he gets in the ball game. Their rushing attack without him is a power attack. They don't do a lot of fancy things. But with Ivory, he can make the sweeps. He can get through the into the secondary and catch the football. They need his explosiveness in the ball game.
He picked up 6, 2nd and 4. Jesse Clark barreling right at the first down marker. Kyle Clifton, inside linebacker, on the tackle. Jesse Clark is the heavy-duty bowling ball type runner as compared to the shiftiness of an Eddie Lee Ivory.
Exactly, and he's the power part of that power rushing attack. Ivory is the shifty runner, the slashing runner. It's very tough on a quarterback that doesn't have a running game. Dickey has not had it the first 2 weeks of the season, and that puts all the pressure on him. the offensive line for the protection.
10th play of the drive, third down, less than a yard. Ivory has the first down and some more. Springs on the stop. A minute 45 left in this first quarter. The Jets 7. Packers nothing. A very long first quarter. We have seen 9 penalties called. 3 against the Jets, 6 against Green Bay.
I look for a pass here. This is a great opportunity for a quarterback going in.
As Clark in motion. Well, the pitch out. This is Ellis. Run for Rowe. On the hit on Ellis. Harry Ellis, a guy who gets the tough yardage on the ground, also a good receiver. A bargain for Green Bay, signed as a free agent back in 1980 after he was released by the Los Angeles Rams. Mark Gastineau is back, so shaken up. Apparently all right. And back with a second down and 7. Dickey looking right. Broken up by Russell Carter. Pass intended for Philip Epps.
That was just great coverage. Dickey threw a good pass over Carter, who had the man-to-man coverage. The ball was right there when Epps looked back. Carter looked back and knocked the ball away. They were really high on Carter. They feel Carter is probably their best defensive back. They played him at free safety, but now they're playing at the right corner in place of Johnny Lynn, and actually they feel like he can play any of the 4 defensive backfield positions.
Carter hampered by a string of injuries last year. Looked particularly solid at the free safety. And today lining up at the corner. Third down, 7. And almost intercepted by Lance Mel. Intended for Jesse Clark.
Just a poor throw by Dickey. He was looking downfield in the tight coverage. Nobody was open, and he really threw that ball. He knew where his outlet was, but he threw it without looking to see if he was covered. Mel had him covered like a blanket.
So a long series, but the Packers not able to bring it all the way. And here is Al Del Greco, second year out of Auburn. Kicked a 40-yard field goal last week against the Giants, but also had one block. This is from 39 yards away. Packers have had trouble with the holders. The punter, Joe Prokop, giving it a shot now. Last week, it was the quarterback, Lynn Dickey. Let's see. No trouble there. 39-yard field goal for Al Del Greco. So the Jets now lead it by the score of 7-3, 21 seconds left, first quarter.
We were watching him before the game, and Prokop took one and set it down on that very same spot. And the dirt infield, the ball actually slipped away. This time he got it down in good shape. Del Greco puts it through, but sometimes that has a way of bothering those field goal kickers. They're a little bit psychic anyway.
You did some kicking in college, not to say that you're psyched out anyway, Bob. But what makes a good holder? What constitutes someone you'd be comfortable with?
Obviously, you have to have good hands and quick hands. You have to catch the ball quickly and get it down on the spot that you say you're going to get it down on, and then get your hands out of the way and just hold it with your fingertip.
Odd check of the scoreboard. Pirates still leading the Mets. However, the Cardinals trailing Montreal. Yankees going in 6.5 back, and could pick up a game if they hang on and beat the Orioles. And Kansas City and California going in at a tie for the lead of the AL West. Hector and Springs awaiting the kickoff from Del Greco. And Springs takes. This is Kurt Springs. Across the 15, but a flag thrown. Darrell Jones, backup safety man, in his second year out of Georgia, making the stop.
There's a flag on the play.
But a flag thrown. It is against the Packers.
looks like they're going to have to kick it again, or is the quarter? Oh, there's 12 seconds left in the first quarter. The kickoff team really loves this, Marv, when they have to go back down and kick it over. They've already run 50 or 60 yards in the sprint down to make the tackle. Now they get to do it all over again.
Those are the penalties that have been accepted. Several have been declined.
Number 94, kicking was offside.
It's Charlie Martin, the free agent nose tackle. What's he doing going down on the kickoff team? Anyway, they just took him off. They figured he couldn't run down there twice in a row. There he is. He's over there getting. I'm surprised he's not at the oxygen tank.
They called Charlie too mean. So he'll sit this one out. And again, Hector and Springs await the kick from Del Greco. Shorter kick taken by Johnny Hector to the 15. And the return across the 25. Brian Noble on the tackle. 3 seconds remaining in this first quarter. Green Bay Packers come off a strange 1984 season. They went 1-7 over the first half because of terrible offense, then turn around, winning 7 of their last 8. Finish at 8-8, just missed the playoffs. Offense coming alive in the second half, so they would obviously like to get off to a better start here in 85. O'Brien unleashing as sown, and we'll have to see where his forward progress was stopped. Tim Lewis, the right corner, shoving him back the other way as time has run out in this first quarter. At the end of one here at Milwaukee County Stadium, it's the Jets 7, the Packers 3. We'll be back after these messages. There is Freeman McNeil. Ken O'Brien says when Freeman McNeil runs, he makes everything look like it's in slow motion, and he's the only one going fast.
The big part of that offense, you know, this offense is going to get better and better. And once they get their healthy receivers, Walker, Jones, Humphrey back, O'Brien is just going to get better and better. The offensive line, with the addition of Powell and also McElroy last week, has got to get better and better. So if they can stay in this ball game, the first few ball games, when they get all their healthy receivers back, they're going to be a force to be contended with through the season. I really feel the Jets are going to be a good ball club.
Second quarter underway. Marv Albert, Bob Greasy from Milwaukee. It is a second down and 3 off that 7-yard pass play from O'Brien to Sohn, closing out the first quarter. And the first down is picked up by McNeil. Mike Douglas, Robert Brown combining to make the stop.
Nothing really jumps out at you there, although the Packers have outrushed the Jets 39-21. That is kind of an odyssey when we thought the Packers would be throwing more. The Jets are ahead, but the Packers lead on the statistics.
McNeil 25 yards, 10 carries, 1st and 10 now from the 38. O'Brien stepping up. He had all kinds of time, and it was nearly intercepted. Intended for Townsell. Mark Lee in the left corner should have had it.
You know, Mark, we talk about the play-action passes in the running game. Watch the linebacker right here. Now, there's a play-action pass. He's going to have to stop the run. Going to have to stop the run. If I can't, there you go. He's playing run. That's Scott, number 55. He says, nope, it's not a run. Now he's got to get back into coverage. He's got his own coverage. He picked up the tight end.
And back live, O'Brien overthrows Sohn.
That's the one thing the Jets have going for them. They run so much that their play-action passes can get in there.
O'Brien, 4 for 9 to this point. Is the greasy pencil having its difficulty with the very...
Not the pencil, the eraser.
I was going to say, very...
Not the pencil, the eraser.
Illustrated today, acting up on you.
Just trying to clear it. Just trying to get my eraser sharpened a little bit here.
3rd and 10.
Telestrator, obviously, with a personality problem.
I've been nice to him.
Intended for Johnny Hector. So So the Packers able to hold the Jets on this series. Guy Prather in on the play.
Both teams using on passing situations tight man-to-man coverage in the secondary, which allows that rush to get there. Gives them a little bit more time to get there. Both quarterbacks trying to hold it as long as they can, and then they have to get rid of it. But good coverage in the secondary by the Packers.
And Walter Stanley is back at his 20-yard line. Just looking at the clock, that was a long first quarter. We had 11 penalties called in all, 3 against the Jets and 8 against Green Bay. So much for the quicker games, the way these penalties are being called.
I forgot to tell the officials.
All right, Stanley out to the 30. And Green Bay will take over. Matt Munger on the stop. 44-yard punt, 14-yard return. We'll be right back. Minute gone by in the second quarter. Back in Milwaukee, and Green Bay to the offense. Jets lead it by the score of 7-3. And the Packers from their own 33, Ellis and Clark, are at the running backs. This is Ellis. Out across the 40-yard line. Picked up 7, Lance Mel. On the tackle, Gary Ellis, who's averaging just under 3 yards per carry with a good run moving to his left. Bob, what impressed Jet coaches most last week against Buffalo was the fact that they could come up with only 1 missed tackle. That is extraordinary. Usually, they claim they averaged about 14 or 15 per game last year. Someone asked Joe Walton who missed the tackle, and Joe said, "He shall remain anonymous." Jesse Clark short of the first down.
There you see a good shot of the weight of the offensive line for the Green Bay Packers. We mentioned that Forrest Gregg likes his linemen big. Now, the 2 guards, 283 and 280, both of them weigh 283. Now, you don't see many Green Bay sweeps anymore, but I always liked my linemen big. I didn't like any baggy pants for my offensive linemen. I like them full. It gives you a sense of security.
You're a particular guy. Third down and 2. Look out. Dickey was able to elude Jackson, but a flag is thrown. Penalty marker down. Nice head fake by Lynn Dickey, who saw Charles Jackson from close range.
Good holding on the Jets was the preliminary signal.
Defensive holding, number 27. First down.
That's the quarterback, Russell Carter. So Green Bay now with a first down at their 46-yard line.
What they were trying there, Marv, was a little out and up by the wide receiver, and Carter grabbed him when he would turn to go up the field. Might have been a smart play, may have saved the touchdown.
Lofton left, Epps at the bottom of your screen. And it's Clark off the left side. We are set for an update. Let's go to Bob Costas at NFL 85.
Marv, the Mets started the day 2 back of the Cardinals in the National League East. It could get worse. This Sammy Khalifa RBI hit was part of a 5-3 win for the Pirates today at Shea. They took the Mets 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Meanwhile, in the 8th at St. Louis, the Expos do lead the Cardinals 5-4. Marv?
Thank you, Bob. And here in Milwaukee, 3 minutes gone by. Second quarter, Jets over the Packers, 7-3. Second down and 8 for Dickey. And he is snowed under. Harry Hamilton, the free safety, getting to Dickey.
Well, they had a blitz on. They had everybody coming. Right here, he's going to come this way and over here. You're going to see all these linebackers coming. What they have to do is get to Dickey. The pressure being put on as you see the defense crisscrossing. Number 40, Ivory, steps up to try to pick one of them up, but he can't block them all.
Well, the rambunctious telestrator now, after you slap it around a little, starting to respond.
They work him over a little bit, give me a new eraser, and shaped up.
Third down and 16. Back at the 40. Dickey in trouble again. A flag thrown. Lance Mel, the first to get to the quarterback. So the Jets are coming hard now, right by that big offensive line.
Holding on the Packers be declined, but what we said at the top of the show, Lance Bell is shaken up on the field about the Packers needing to protect Dickey and give him some time. Not a very mobile quarterback, has great vision downfield and can throw the long ball very well, but he takes a little bit longer to throw the longer passes.
Offensive holding on offense, and the penalty will be refused. It'll be 4th down.
Take a look at the injuries for the Jets. The top 4 or 5 down to Baltimore, all offensive players. Bob Crable, linebacker, that they're hoping will be back the 5th week of the season. Davlin Mullen, a defensive back. But you know, Mark, they've had a lot of injuries early, but that may work in their favor if they get a lot of these players back by mid-season and go on and play the second half of the year with a healthy team.
And Lance Mel back to the sideline after coming up with the sack. Jets with the second sack of the day. And here's Joe Prokop punting for the second time. His first getting the favorable roll, went 66 yards. Kicking from inside his 20. And Minter on the fair catch at the 26. Fans here wanted to see one of the Packers take a run at Minter. Therefore, the reaction. We'll be right back. Head coach Forrest Gregg, who Vince Lombardi once said was the finest player he ever coached. In his second year as head coach of the Packers, coming off a record of 8-8, the slow start, then turned it around in the second half. That punt by Prokop for 41 yards. So first down from the 26 for the Jets. O'Brien unleashing for Schuler. And a first down across the 45. The strong safety, Mark Murphy, on the stop. A 20-yard pass play.
Green Bay was giving a different look on defense. The offensive line picks it up pretty well. This is the old Chicago Bear defense. O'Brien rolls away from the strength, throws the ball before Schuler breaks. Good coordination between Schuler and O'Brien makes that a completion.
And a first down at the 45-yard line. Jets 7, Packers 3, 5 minutes gone by, second quarter. And O'Brien is hauled down. Second sack for the Packers. Robert Brown in his 4th year at a VPI.
His second sack today. He should be pretty happy, but you know, the coverage by Mike Douglas, the linebacker, O'Brien wanted to dump that ball off on the little quick screen to the halfback, but on man-to-man coverage, Douglas was right there in his back pocket, had no place to throw it. In fact, if he would have thrown it, he would have probably been picked off. Just ate the ball. That was the best of 2 bad situations.
As you saw, second down, 19. The dump off, and picks up very little. Mike Douglas all over Mickey Schuler. So the Packers tightening up this series. They're going with Butler, Humphrey, and Brown up front. Anderson, Scott, Noble, and Douglas, the linebackers. Lee, Murphy, and Flint, and Lewis in the secondary as you scan the baseball scoreboard. Pirates have defeated the Mets. However, if Montreal holds on and beats St. Louis, Mets remain 2 games back. Second, I think that's 3rd down and 18. This is Minter. So Minter, for a brief instant, getting to the open field. Free safety, Tom Flynn on the tackle. And Dave Jennings will check back in. Jennings from his 33, and will punt to the rookie out of Mesa College. Walter Stanley back at his 10-yard line. 8:20 left in the first half. Jets lead it 7-3. Oh, Jennings going up the ladder. And gets the roll once again. Good play by Dave Jennings, who likes to talk about his skills on the basketball court and says for a guy 6'4", he can go to the boards. And he just Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Pete Axtell coming up at halftime. All the scores and highlights on NFL 85. From the 10, Packers open up. Ellis bottled up. Marty Lyons in on the stop. The Jets with a 7-3 lead off a 5-yard touchdown pass from O'Brien to Page. This after the fumbled snap on the first play from scrimmage by the Green Bay Packers. A mix-up on the exchange between the center, Mark Cannon, and Lynn Dickey. Loss of 2, second down, and 12 back of the 8. Dickey gunning over the middle, intended for Preston Denard. Russell Carter on the stop. I should say on the coverage.
Here's Denard right here with Carter covering him. He's going to come straight down the field and come across. This man linebacker right here is going to blitz, opening up a large area in the middle of the field to throw the football. Ball is snapped, linebacker blitz, wide open in the middle of the field. Carter getting his jam within the 5-yard area. Ball is thrown low. Good coverage, though, by Carter.
Dickey having a very tough time. He's 2 for 9, 38 yards.
I don't think he's settled. He is feeling the pressure. Even when the pressure isn't there, he's hurrying.
Third down and 8. Here's Ivory. Try to pick his way, but short of the first down. And you can hear the reaction from the crowd. Packers not able to do it.
It's a tough situation for a quarterback. In Dickey's situation, when you do not have a running game to deal with and you are not very mobile, the defense knows where you're going to be and they can just tee off. The Jets have the individuals that can put the pressure on the quarterback. And if you had tight coverage in the secondary, the Jets defensively have been dominating this first half.
And here is Joe Burkop back at his end zone. He is a left-footed punter with a strong leg, although he has not gotten off a good boot thus far today. And not a good one there. Minner let it go, gets the roll. And the Jets will take over right there. A 42-yard punt by Burkop. Quick check around the NFL. Dallas defeating Cleveland 20-7. These are final scores. Pittsburgh blanking Houston. Giants over St. Louis to make it a record of 2-1. Denver beating Atlanta 44-28. Philadelphia surprising Washington 19-6.
A surprise, isn't it?
And here are the Jets now. Back to the offense. O'Brien. Johnny Hector. Close to the first down. Run out by Noble and Murphy. And there's that other shootout, San Diego over Cincinnati, 44-41.
Cincinnati starting slow again this year, although they played well.
Right, Sam Weiss said he did not want to get off to the same kind of start as a year ago, and here they are, 0-3.
They played Seattle the first week and some tough games. Still no score, Kansas City, Miami.
First down by the Jets as Hector did pick it up. And Brandon McNeil stopped by Robert Brown. Robert Brown has played a strong game, taking over for Ezra Johnson at right defensive end. He was a surprise last year, 5 sacks as a part-time player. Originally drafted as an outside linebacker.
Of course, Greg says his defensive line has really come along with Mike Butler coming back, Ezra Johnson, both drafted as #1 draft choices several years ago. That and their secondary are really the strengths of the defense.
2nd and 14. And here's McNeil. And he has been held in check in this first half. Donnie Humphrey stop. Freeman McNeil not able to get going coming off the 192-yard performance a week ago.
Well, the Green Bay Packers saw those films, you can be sure, and they are slanting their line one way or the other to stop McNeil. The other thing the Jets have to do is throw the ball a little bit on first down, and Hector's been in there some. You just can't give the entire load to McNeil.
3rd down and 9. O'Brien throwing on the run, an overthrow. Intended for the tight end, Schuler, but a flag thrown. It is in the Jet backfield. It's against the Jets.
Offensive holding, number 53. Penalty will be refused. It'll be 4th down.
We'll show you what we're looking at in the secondary. When we say there's tight man-to-man coverage, if we can go ahead and run this play, we'll show you where the tight coverage is. Now, it's man-to-man coverage. If we stop it right there, if we can stop it, you'll see right here, good coverage. Everybody has good coverage anywhere you go. And my eraser is working sometimes, and sometimes it isn't.
Smack it around again, Bob.
But you
don't accept this.
You got a shot of what the quarterback sees downfield.
So some nice circles.
Yeah, some circles.
Here's Jennings again looking to angle it.
Good play. Good play.
Number 37, Donnie Elder, with a beauty, downing it at the 2-yard line. A 41-yard punt by Jennings, and Elder, the rookie from Memphis State, getting downfield in a hurry.
You know, Marv, Elder was a high draft choice. The number 3 draft choice really is not playing as much as 2 other draft choices. Miano, number 6, and also Kerry Glenn, number 10. All defensive backs, but Elder is just a little bit slower in coming along and picking up. As you take a look at the draft choices, all defensive backs for the Jets. Lyles is injured, but Kerry Glenn and Rich Miano are getting to play because you draft on physical ability and you play on the mental adjustment that you make to the system. Obviously, Glenn and Miano picked it up a little bit quicker than Elder, not to say that he won't be a good player down the road.
Last week, Miano with 2 interceptions. Glenn had 1. Ellis and Clark, the running backs. Packers now 1st down from the 2. And Dickey airing it out. He had Ipps. Ipps not able to hang on. The free safety, Harry Hamilton, in that race with the world-class sprinter, Philip Epps.
Jackson 40 is going to run with him, but Epps makes a great adjustment on the ball. You see him go inside of Hamilton. Hamilton never saw the football. He had him covered, but he didn't see the football. Epps saw it, made a good adjustment to the inside, but he just forgot to catch it.
Philip Epps, the man who's taken over for John Jefferson to team up with James Lofton. Jefferson, of course, traded earlier this week to the Cleveland Browns.
2nd and 10.
They got a lot of good receivers up here in Green Bay.
Here's Ivory on a slant. And the Packers continue to have problems. 4.5 remaining in this first half.
Of course, Greg said he was embarrassed the way his team played the first week of the season against the New England Patriots. He said last week against the Giants, he was pleased. They were very aggressive. They came out and they played hard and played very well. They're not doing so well here today. The Jets, of course, defensively, I think, are doing just what they need to do. They are putting pressure on Dickey and shutting down the wide receivers with good man coverage.
3rd down and 10. Epps is out to the right. Clark and Ellis, the running backs. And Dickey has the tight end, Paul Kaufman, his first reception of the day for the 1st down. Paul Kaufman, clutch receiver. He's been a Pro Bowl starter the last 2 years, and that's his first catch. And let's see, it is close to the 1st down marker, and they are calling for the yardstick.
Here's Kaufman right here. He's just going to come downfield past the 1st down markers and do a little hook to the outside. Now, this is a big play for the Packers because they're on their own 1-yard line. Going to get them a 1st down, maybe. Well, it's going to be 4th down and close.
Packers thought they had it, and then the ball was spotted just shy of the first down. And Kaufman arguing he felt they pushed it back a bit.
He said, I knew exactly where that marker was, and I got it. They pushed me back.
But they're not buying it.
They don't normally buy it. Let's take another look and see how close he does get. Now he's on the 10. He's up to 11. He's got to get to the 12. That's pretty close. He's looking at it right there. But the referee marks it with his left foot, not his right. When he marks it with that foot, he ain't going to give it to him.
All right, here's Prokop getting set to punt again. Prokop in that punting battle in Giant Camp with Sean Landetta, Dave Jennings, who ends up with the Jets, and Jim Colquitt, who ends up with Seattle. So all four punters vying for the job in the Giant Camp in preseason are in the National Football League. Let's have a good one. Here's Springs. And excellent coverage by the Packers, led by Guy Prather. A 49-yard punt. 8-yard return. 3:19 left in this first half. The Jets off the early turnover, leading Green Bay by the score of 7-3. Al Toon is back on the field. How soon do you feel it'll be before Toon is a starter?
Well, I don't think he should be starting at this point, Marv. I think they need to break him in slowly. He needs to learn the fundamentals of the system. I think they've handled him very well. Got him in some last week. They're also getting him in a little bit this week, but you cannot rush a young man like this, even though he's intelligent.
And McNeil picking his way. Raymond McNeil to the 46. John Anderson on the stop. Freeman thought he'd break it. He's upset with himself.
They were looking for pass that time. They were watching Al Toon. Seemed like last week whenever Al Toon came in the football game, they throw the footballs. But he has a lot to learn. And the main thing he needs to learn is the blitz adjustments, Marv. If the safeties come, he has to know what to run.
Second down and 4. And O'Brien picks up the first down. A bullet. And O'Brien connecting with the tight end, Mickey Schuler. Getting back to Toon, he broke in sensational fashion. As you take a look at the baseball scores, the Cardinals coming from behind to beat Montreal 6-5. Tommy Herr going in with a 2-out home run in the ninth, and they now are 3 games in front of the Mets. So the Cardinals pick up another full game. And here's O'Brien lofting for Toon. As I started to say, Al Toon caught 3 passes last week. His first, a 50-yard pass play combining with Pat Ryan, and then Joe Walton went over to Toon on the sideline and said to Al, it's not going to be this easy every week. Second down play coming up.
You're young like this, and Rich Kotite, the offensive coordinator, says in a meeting he's just a delight to deal with, talk to. He picks things up very quickly, but you have to bring these guys along very gradually. You have to build for the strong foundation so they can pick up the offense.
Second down 10, and O'Brien throws deep.
That was good coverage by Lee, 22. The ball was right there. JoJo Townsville almost made the catch, but Lee, the Packers have some good secondary men in their backfield, and we'll take another look. Good coverage, right step for step. Townsville almost comes up with a great catch.
Nice soft ball lofted by O'Brien.
O'Brien has thrown the ball hard when he has had to. He threw one to Schuler a couple of plays ago, stuck it in between 2 linebackers, and he has thrown the ball up and over the top. I'm impressed with the way he's playing.
Third down 10, and Hector trying to rip through. Mark Murphy, the strong safety on the stop. 2 minutes remaining now in this first half. We'll be right back. And that this is a homecoming for the rookie from Wisconsin. Al Toon collected about 30 tickets from teammates in order to distribute to friends and family. Making his return to the state of Wisconsin. 50-yard field goal being attempted here by Pat Leahy. No good. So Leahy is now 0 for 4 on the the season, missing from 50, 56, 39, and 47. So a rough start, although several have been deep.
I'd say so. It's not the way you build your confidence by trying field goals in 45 yards and more, but that just tells you the offense hasn't gotten that close.
Minute 55 to go in this first half here in Milwaukee. The Packers have played a portion of their schedule in Milwaukee since back in 1934, starting at the old Orchard Field, then on to the State Fair Park and Marquette Stadium. In 1953, when the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee, they began playing part of their home schedule here at the County Stadium. And since '61, every game has been a sellout. Packers take over at the 33. Ellis off the swing. Harry Ellis picking up the first down and more. A 20-yard pass play. Harry Hamilton, the free safety, making the stop.
Gary Ellis is a very important part of their passing scheme. He's caught a lot of passes over the years for the Packers. He and Ivory, two big play receivers coming out of the backfield.
First down at the Jet 47. And Gastineau on the sack, third Jet sack of the day. So Mark Gastineau was shaken up earlier, looked like he had hit his thumb in a collision with Ellis, is apparently all right.
And he's doing this with his left hand. Watch his left hand, how he grabs the shoulder and then pulls his shoulder past Cook and gets there about the same time Bennett. Now, he and Bennett are going to have a little argument over who gets this sack. They will give each one of them a half. They'll go a baggie apiece. A half a sack.
Timeout with a minute 13 left in this first half. The Jets 7 and Green Bay 3.
You got to move.
Capacity crowd here in Milwaukee, better than 55,000 on hand. Marv Albert along with Bob Greasy. And we are somewhere amidst that press box. Well, the telestrator is operating. All right.
Right there. Over to my right, over here.
Second and 18.
All right, let's see.
Where are we? There we are. All right.
They try to hide us for good reason. Second down and 18. Eddie Lee Ivory. Hearing it from the crowd. Once again, Packers not able to generate offense. It has been a long first half for Lynn Dickey. He is only 4 for 12.
I think it just goes to point up, Marv, that if you're a one-dimensional offense, whether you're the Jets in running or the Packers in passing, you've got to have some balance.
Third and 16. And Dickey trying to hit Denard. That's right. Was that sincere by Gastineau?
Yeah, that was a sincere. He knocked him down, and he's going to help him up. See, Gastineau using his one good hand.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but you know I was here, right? Glenn Dickey definitely feels the heat from the front four of the Jets. Throws the ball a little bit too quick. Is not stepping up in the pocket. There's some room sometimes up in the pocket, but he is not stepping forward.
And here's Procop getting set to punt from his 31. When the Jets and Packers met in preseason, Dickey was sacked by Marty Lyons and was knocked out of the game. That was third play of the game. This is Springs. Out near the 30 with 28 seconds remaining, a 32-yard punt and an 8-yard return by Kurt Springs, who received quite a bit of attention in the New York area following the victory over the Buffalo Bills last week. It seems that Springs, normally a very quiet guy, delivered a pregame pep talk, and the Jets felt that helped turn things around after that opening day disaster against the Raiders. Bob, you've been through it. The pep talks have any meaning at all, or is it a matter of rationalizing after the fact because they did play well?
Well, I think it's the fact that he was such a quiet individual. He didn't say a lot most of the time. It was what made it so emotional. It made the players realize that if this guy that's doing this out of character, not his nature to stand up and talk, get up and fire us up, I think it's more emotional that way.
That was McNeil on the ball carry. Back in your days with Miami, were there be guys who would get up and talk to you did not want to hear from?
Connie, the Italian, he'd get up all the time.
And I know you say that with great affection.
Yeah, Nick's a great guy, but it was always Nick got up and said something. But if somebody that didn't talk much got up and said something, you listen.
All right, that's the end of the first half. The Packers leave, and hear it from the crowd. Jets up 7-3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. At Milwaukee County Stadium, we are at halftime, and the Jets lead the Packers by the score of 7-3. Marv Albert along with Bob Greasy. Bob, getting back to the keys that you discussed at the start of the game. First of all, for the Jets, you mentioned that they must get Freeman McNeil going, perhaps not as great as they did last week when he rushed for 192 yards, but to this point it's been quiet. Freeman, 15 carries, 31 yards.
Well, I think the Packers also watch those films, as we said, and I think they're trying to stop him by slanting the same way that he's running. Obviously, the Jets in the second half are going to have to change a little bit. I think maybe throw on first down some to break that key that the Packers have, but they're not going to go away from running Freeman McNeil. He is too good a back. He could break one anytime.
And how about Green Bay, the protection for Lynn Dickey, and Dickey checking the stats, 4 for 13, 67 yards. He has had a very difficult time.
Well, and even when they haven't sacked him, they've put pressure on him, and he has felt the pressure. He has moved around when he hasn't had to, and he hasn't moved when he should have moved. He threw the ball away too early sometimes, so it's really affecting him, and he needs to come back out in the second half and maybe throw some shorter passes, some quicker passes.
Our one critical play in that first half, and it took place first play from scrimmage for the Green Bay Packers off the bad exchange between the center Cannon and the quarterback Dickey.
Well, Klecko was lined up on a slant, and I don't think Cannon had seen many of these things. Cannon starting this first year for the Packers, and that was the only touchdown, led to the only touchdown in the ball game. It was the first series for the Packers. Cannon wasn't fresh, and he probably had read a few things growing up about Joe Klecko.
And that play led to the only touchdown in the first half. You'll see Ken O'Brien connect with Tony Page.
The key to this play was O'Brien. He dropped back to pass, and what he wanted to do was throw to these receivers who were running over here. Actually, what he did was he moved to his right and then back to his left. Now, Page snuck out into the end zone and ends up catching the football. But what he really wanted to do was throw it this side. The two receivers lined up on this side, both wide receivers, go down in the end zone. He's looking down the middle to his wide receivers, then moves up and moves to his left. Now, last year he wouldn't have been able to do this. Last year he would have taken a sack or thrown the ball over here. Sees more of the field. He's more under control. He is a better football player because he can move around within the pocket. And
the only score for the Packers, 39-yard field goal by Del Greco. So at the half, the Jets leading Green Bay 7-3. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics. Time of possession, about the same. Once again, a penalty-filled first half, so it was a long first half.
Well, and yards passing. You see the Green Bay Packers only 44 yards passing. And also yards rushing for the Jets. Both strengths for both teams offensively and not doing very well at all.
Green Bay has been in Jet territory only twice. Once scoring a field goal, and the other time that long drive was stalled. As head coach Forrest Gregg looking to get his guys going. Interesting contrast in philosophy between Gregg and Walton coming off the bad opening day performance. Gregg went wild on his team, swinging at them several days during the course of practice. Walton took the other approach, and that is trying to tell the guys, well, you're really not that bad. You're actually good, and we should look for better things come Sunday. And as it turned out, that was the story against the Buffalo Bills.
That was after the Raiders beat him 31-0. He had to tell them you weren't that bad. This week he said, you're not that good. You beat Buffalo 42-3. Somewhere in between.
All right, here's Walter Stanley on the kickoff return. So reaching out across the 15, Marion Bobber on the tackle. Last 6 possessions by Green Bay. Been a busy first half for Joe Prokop.
Not the kind of consistency you want out of your offense. Maybe if that was your defense, showing what your defense had done to the other team. 1 field goal and 5 punts.
Ball spotted at the 19-yard line. So Green Bay with Lynn Dickey at quarterback. Harry Ellis and Jesse Clark are the running backs. As we get underway here in the 3rd quarter. They line up in the I. Dickey to throw on first down. Showing some mobility and able to complete for the first down to Philip Epps. So Lynn Dickey showing us a neat move.
Showing us a little mobility, which we said he didn't have. Linebacker right here is going to put the pressure on him. We'll take a look. Drop back to pass on first down. The center has done a good job on Kleckel. But Clifton, 59, comes around, almost gets him, and gets the ball off. Good play by Dickey.
12-yard pickup. And a first down for the Packers across the 30. Ivory has come in. And here's Ivory to the 34. Picked up 4, 2nd down and 6. Charles Jackson on the stop. Packers at 1-1, losing to New England last Sunday, beat the Giants. Excellent game by the Packer defense a week ago. Jets at 1 up and 1 down, losing to the Raiders. And then walloping Buffalo. Miami now in front of Kansas City, 7-0 in the 1st quarter.
3rd quarter. I'm surprised they're shutting him out in the 3rd quarter with all the problems Miami has had defensively.
And here is Ellis. Lance Mel ran him out. Dan Marino throwing a touchdown pass in the 3rd quarter. And the Packers now with a 3rd down and 2.
Lance Mel, one of the really good players for the New York Jets, probably should have been elected to the Pro Bowl in some time in the last couple of years. Is overlooked because of the play, I think, of the more popular Gastineau, or not the more popular, but the bigger name. He gets all the attention. But you ask the offensive players, and they'll tell you Mel's as good as the linebacker in the league.
Dickey with a bullet intended for Kaufman. And the Green Bay drive has been stopped once again.
Paul Kaufman, usually a sure-handed receiver, short yardage play action pass, slips through the linebacker, gets into the secondary. Now he's open. Now Dickey was throwing the ball to the inside away from Clifton, who was on the outside of him. Kaufman just didn't come back and catch the football.
And here is Joe Prokop punting for the 5th time from his 24-yard line. And a good one. Springs to the 20. 45-yard punt and an 8-yard return. John Dorsey on the tackle of Kirk Springs. So with 2 minutes gone by 3rd quarter, there's a timeout called. The Jets 7, Green Bay 3.
Game is brought to you by Coors Light, the silver bullet. There's no slowing down with a silver bullet. By Chrysler Plymouth, who invites you to discover the new technology of driving at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. And by Kentucky Fried Chicken. We do chicken right.
Marv Albert with Bob Greasy from Milwaukee as this Jet series opens with a Freeman McNeil carry. Out to the 27, so picked up 4 on the play. Well, we mentioned the Packers not going anywhere. Their last 6 possessions. Jets also having their difficulties.
And the key is on the left side where you see the plays. They've only held the ball for a very short time, no more than 5 plays on any series, and what you like to do is control the football.
2nd down and 6. That's Sohn in motion. O'Brien looking for Sohn. Instead goes to the tight end, Schuler. And it's a first down for the Jets. He looked Sohn's way, then changed his mind. Right now, let's go to Bob Costas and NFL 85. Thanks, Bob. A 13-yard pass play. O'Brien and Schuler connecting. Schuler's fourth catch for 43 yards. And the Jets with a first down at their 40. They lead Green Bay 7-3. Now that's Schuler in motion. Freeman McNeil stopped at the line. Is that a mix-up there? Schuler started to make the move from left to right.
No, I don't think it was a mix-up as we look at this final for the American League, National League West. I don't think it was a mix-up. I think Freeman McNeil saw that the slant, the blocking up front wasn't what he expected, and he slowed up trying to make the cut before he got the football. The Jets have gone to two tight ends to try and get Freeman McNeil loose, making Mickey Schuler the moving man as we see Joe Fields going off under his own power. But obviously the Jets coming out trying something a little bit different, not getting any big yardage for Freeman McNeil.
Joe Fields, who 2 weeks ago was elected by the players as team captain. A guy well respected by the ball club, replaced by Guy Bingham, 6-year man out of Montana.
It's always tough when a new center comes in the middle of the ball game.
2nd and 10. Play action. And the swing to McNeil. Freeman McNeil into Green Bay territory to the 35-yard line. A 25-yard pass play. The right corner, Tim Lewis, able to collar McNeil.
And this is a good play for the Jets because McNeil was not the primary receiver. It was a play-action pass. They wanted to throw to the man coming across the field on the left side of your screen. He was not open, but this is just as good a way to get the ball to McNeil. Dump it off to him in the flat and let him use his ability to run down the field. You can't hand him the ball and let him run. Throw him a short pass and let him run.
First down at the Green Bay 35. Again, the good protection. And the completion to Rocky Cleaver. And a good play by O'Brien. He took a bump, but was able to hang in and get it off.
And first down passing, as we said, maybe a little bit more first down passing second half. Loosen up the Packer defense. Obviously looking for Freeman McNeil on the run as we see Zeke Bratkowski giving the signs. He doesn't have a disease or a scratch, folks. He's just giving some signs. But smart play calling by the Jets, loosening up a little bit on first down.
And Cleaver's first reception of the season. 2nd down and 3. Here's McNeil picking his way. Randy Scott, the inside linebacker. On the stop, Butler, Martin, Johnson up front. Anderson, Scott, Noble, Douglas, the linebackers. Lee and Lewis at the corners. Murphy and Flynn are the deep men. We're told that center Joe Fields suffered a strained groin, and it is doubtful whether he will return. Guy Bingham taking over at center, flanked by Sweeney and Alexander at the guards. Powell and McElroy at the tackles. 3rd down and 3. And a beautiful diving catch is made for the first down. A 13-yard pickup. Freeman McNeil and Ken O'Brien once again.
Good mobility. See these two linebackers going straight up the gut, and the outside linebacker is going to be coming in here, and he is the one that lets O'Brien get outside of containment. He is supposed to stay wide so no one gets outside of him. That's 51. I think that's Prather. Comes and he gets outside of him. Now O'Brien has clear vision, throws the ball just a little past. First down.
First down from the 16 in Packer territory. Here's Hector. Picked up a couple. Mike Douglas, the outside linebacker, on the stop. So Johnny Hector getting the call. He had a good one against Buffalo. Carried it last week only 6 times, but picked up 43 yards. Now McNeil checking back in. 9th play of the drive. 8.5 remaining in this 3rd quarter. 2nd and 8. Sohn in motion. Schuler inside the 10. Randy Scott, the inside linebacker, on the tackle of Mickey Schuler. Schuler slow in getting up.
Packers are mixing their defenses up. The Schuler is a little bit shaken up. Schuler is right here. He is going to release off the line of scrimmage and come to the outside, and he is going to stop and come back to the inside. Now, ideally, that is a good route against man-to-man coverage. But as you're going to see, if I get my telestrator to erase, which I've just done, the linebackers drop straight back. See him drop straight back into their coverage. 91 is Noble. He says, I'm not looking at anybody except the quarterback. And then he come up and make the tackle. Jets obviously expecting man-to-man coverage and got a different coverage, so you take the best of what you can get.
And Ken O'Brien hot on this drive. He's 5 for 5 for 65 yards.
And not the deep passes. He's throwing the short ones. You saw him dump it off to Freeman McNeil when the play-action pass on first down was covered. A lot of maturity in this man. Talking to Joe Walton, he says he's been more consistent, more mature, and he knows the system a lot better, has more confidence in himself. I think the addition of Zeke Bratkowski, who played for the Green Bay Packers all those years, has added something, as Ken says, it's a buffer between Joe Walton and myself. I can go and ask him questions that I don't have to ask the head coach.
Third and about a yard. Hector is stopped by Donnie Humphrey. So big play by the Packers. Donnie Humphrey in his second year out of Auburn. Applauded by head coach Forrest Brigg. And the Jets have to settle for a field goal. Matt Leahy missed from 50 earlier today. He is 0 for 4 on the season. A 25-yard attempt.
This is the first chip shot he's had all season.
And this one is good. Leahy connecting from 25. 7 minutes left, third quarter. The Jets now lead Green Bay 10-3. That'll be an unprecedented 4 hours of live coverage. So join us for Day of the Races, November 2nd, right here on NBC Sports. A booming kickoff by Leahy. But a penalty marker down. So Pat Leahy, who capped off that 11-play, 63-yard drive with a 25-yard field goal, puts it in the end zone. But there's our first flag of the second half.
Kicking team, number 71, offside.
Shoemate. Yes, Mark Shoemate, man who plays both offense and defense. That's the 14th penalty of the afternoon. 6 assessed on the Jets, 8 on Green Bay. Out of the 6 called on the Jets, now 3 have been accepted. 4 of the 8 accepted by the Jets when Green Bay was penalized. How's that for statistical diligence inspired by last week's penalty marathon in the Buffalo Jet game?
Well, he had 27 in that game. I think the record was 35 or 36, something like that. I don't care to ever get close to that again.
Wait a moment, Bob. These are significant facts.
Not to Joe Walton, they are.
Leahy will kick off again. This crowd coming to life. Another good one. Walter Stanley stays right there.
It was better than the other one.
Right here, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
The lights are on here at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Marv Albert with Bob Greasy. The Jets with a 10-3 lead on Green Bay. Lynn Dickey looking to turn it from the poor start as Clark and Ellis as his setbacks. And here's Ellis. Stop back behind the line. Joe Flacco, the nose tackle, getting to the ball carrier, Gary Ellis.
The defensive line of the Jets is just dominating this ball game, dominating the offensive line of the Packers, both against the run on first down and on third down passing situation.
Kirk Springs is down. Kirk has made it back from an ankle injury. Missed the entire preseason. Jets have had rough luck in the secondary with a host of injuries. Springs, the strong safety, in his 5th season out of Miami of Ohio.
One of the quiet leaders of this team, Marvin. You need both types. You need the vocal, the type guys that are going to get up and yell and you can rally around. And then you need the guys like Springs who's just going to go out on the field and get the job done and lead by example, not by verbalizing it.
You were a screamer as a player, right, Bob?
I was a big screamer, yeah. I think I did 1 or 2 of those locker room talks before the game, maybe when we were going very badly for 2 or 3 games, and it's really out of character for someone like that, but I think, like Springs, when you do it, it has a big impact.
2nd and 10 from the 20. Dickey with the sideline pass for Lofton, and a first down with a flag thrown. 15-yard pickup if it holds. Lofton, an extraordinary athlete, great hands, breakaway speed, made the Pro Bowl 5 straight years. In his 8th season out of Stanford.
We had a defensive holding, and we also had an offensive holding, and the down will be replayed. We'll repeat 2nd down.
Again, offsetting penalties. Into the 2nd and 10 from the 20. Setting the Packers. Swanke and Cook at the tackles. Euchre and Hallstrom at the guards. And Cannon the center. The screen for Ivory. Picked up 5. It'll be a 3rd and 5 when we pick it up. But right here, let's go to Bob Costas and NFL 85. Thank you, Bob. 5:15 left. 3rd quarter here in Milwaukee. And a 3rd down and 5 for Green Bay. Look out. That's Springs chasing Dickey. And let's see, was it short hop or picked off? Kerry Glenn, but he scooped it up.
I think he's trying to tell the official that he caught the football.
He did, in fact, short hop it. And notice how he quickly turned to screen the official.
Dickey has to run because of Kirk Springs right here is going to be on a safety blitz. Everybody is picked up except for Springs. Everybody has a man. Ellis doesn't know who to block. Dickey just trying to get rid of the football.
So Springs, who was down a moment ago, apparently okay, back in action, putting the pressure on Dickey, and Joe Prokop is back to punt from his 10. Cedric Minter. Looked like he stepped out. Flag thrown. Prokop running Minter down, a 47-yard punt. And we'll have to wait and see where they spot the return. He had very little running room along the sideline. Penalty is against Green Bay.
I think they should decline this one, Marv. He got a good field position and a nice return.
Kicking team had an ineligible man downfield, number 99. Foul will be refused. It'll be a 1st and 10 for the receivers.
That was the backup linebacker, John Dorsey, called on the penalty. A timeout with 4:50 left, 3rd quarter. Baseball situation, the Cardinals now 3 games in front of the Mets. The Yankees 5.5 behind Toronto. Here's O'Brien on 1st down, throwing the to Sohn, covered by Lee. And fans here wanted a penalty on the receiver, Sohn.
That's exactly right. Sohn did put his hand out, but he was looking back to the ball to try to make the catch, which was overthrown. The ball was uncatchable. At the top of your screen, Sohn going straight down between the two receivers, the defenders. 41 is Flynn. As you see right there, he kind of throws his arm out to knock him down, but no harm.
But harm done to Ken O'Brien as he's sacked on second down. Ezra Johnson, who had 2 last week against the Giants. And for Green Bay, the 3rd sack of the day. Ezra Johnson out of Morris Brown in his 9th season in the NFL, a #1 draft pick of the Packers back in 1977.
That's the problem for an offensive team, Marv. If you go for the big home run on first down and don't get it, you immediately put yourself in a passing situation, and the defensive line and Johnson and those types of people are really going to come after you. Now it's third and 15.
Hector and McNeil are the running backs. Here's McNeil, led by Powell. And tripped up. Gary Hayes, the extra defensive back. Gary Hayes, the stop.
60 is Alexander, 79 is Powell, trying to do some good around in 3rd and 15. Too many Packers waiting on that play.
And for the 6th time today, Dave Jennings had a good one. Will punt from the Jet 28-yard line. Walter Stanley. Stanley back at his 15. And another beauty. Stanley misjudged it. That was a bad play. It could have been much worse. So a driving punt by Jennings, 54-yard punt. We'll be back in just a moment. Watching a game behind a post.
Yeah, a big post at that, in a small booth, huh?
Yes, yes, but a delight to be here in Milwaukee. Overcast day. We're in the 3rd quarter. The Jets leading the Green Bay Packers by the score of 10-3, 3:17 left in the 3rd. And the Packers first down from the 13. Play action. And it's picked off. A dangerous pass and intercepted by Lance Mel. So the Jets will take over. That pass intended for Phillip Epps.
Mel with good vision on the quarterback. The smart one in that secondary. You see him right here. He's going to drop straight back. It's going to be a little play action. These 2 men are going to go down, break to the outside, and the interception will occur right about here. Lance Mel with good vision does not get fooled, is looking for the inside receiver, sees the ball, and cuts in front of him, makes the interception.
His first interception of the season. The Jets first down at the 11. Big hole as Tony Page races it home. For the score, and the Jets now lead the Packers 16-3. So Page with both touchdowns this afternoon. He has 4 on the season, and that is first carry of the day.
And everybody, every effect has an effect on one person or the other. Forrest Gregg doesn't see it quite so much in the light vein as Page. Page not carrying the ball very much, as you said, 1 carry, good for the touchdown.
Here's Pat Leahy looking to convert the extra point. So 2 costly mistakes by the Packers. The opening series, the snap fumbled by Dickey, recovered by the Jets. It leads to the touchdown. And now the interception by Mel, leading to Tony Page taking it in once again.
Well, Dickey said coming into the ballgame, Marv, that he was not feeling that he didn't have the timing back. He didn't play much in the preseason. He had some injuries and didn't play as much as he had liked to have played. Obviously is not playing that well and knows it has to play himself into shape, and in the fact that in the meantime, it's not playing very well.
Would you pull him?
Well, it depends on who you have behind him. And in talking with Greg, he says he's the best we've got. So we're going to go with the best we've got.
Well, Randy Wright is the man behind Len Dickey, a guy who obviously has done it over the years, but he has had a poor day. Of course, there are other reasons for that, too.
Well, the other reason, obviously, is the pressure that the Jet defensive line is putting on him, dominating the line of scrimmage. But it looks like Wright may be loosening up to come in the ballgame.
Dickey only 6 for 17, 84 yards, 1 interception, and a costly one. Another terrific kickoff by Leahy. And Gary Ellerson will stay there, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Tremendous kickoff day for Pat Leahy. He has been booming them. And, well, Dickey remains on the sideline. Here's Randy Wright.
Move around a little bit more, maybe make some big plays, escaping the rush. The other thing he has is he doesn't have any scars, either physically or mentally. Obviously, Dickey has got some scars from being sacked today, being pressured. Wright does not.
A big favorite here, a 6th-round draft pick out of Wisconsin in his second year in the NFL, Randy Wright. Jesse Clark for no gain. Wright played in 8 games last year as a rookie, started once against Chicago. He's coming back from tearing 2 knee ligaments last year, but says he's all right. Interesting how the crowd always goes wild as the second and third string quarterback comes out.
Backup quarterback is always the most popular guy on the team.
2nd and 9. James Lofton for the first down. So Randy Wright on a 13-yard pass play, connecting on his first attempt, but a penalty flag throw.
Defense, incidental face mask, number 40. Offense, holding, number 58. The down will be replayed. 2nd down.
What does Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator for the Jets, do as soon as the new quarterback comes in the ballgame? Sends his linebackers, both linebackers on a blitz. These two come in this hole right here. The offensive back is going to try and get over to pick one of them up, but this is the difference in Dickey and Wright. Dickey may have been moving backward. Wright stays in and throws the football and then takes the beating, completes the pass.
5th time today we've had offsetting penalties. 2nd and 9 again. To the ground for Ivory. And the Jets right there, led by Mel.
Mel not being fooled. He knows that the Packers are in a passing mood. 3 wide receivers in the game. They've taken Paul Kaufman, their all-pro tight end, out. But still, he hangs in there and reads his keys. If the guard blocks down, he steps up and makes a tackle on the trap.
1.5 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Jets in front of Green Bay now 17-3. And a 3rd down 9. Ellison Clark, the running backs. Lofton is to the right. Look out. And Wright is sacked by Mel. What a 3rd quarter for the inside linebacker, Lance Mel. But a penalty flag down. It's against Green Bay. Looked to be the right tackle, Greg Cook. So Mel with the interception. And now the sack.
Offensive holding, number 68. And it's fouled. The penalty will be declined. 4th down.
It is Cook.
68 is Cook blocking on Gastineau. Gastineau has beaten him several times. His left hand, Cook's left hand, holding on. That's 2 big guys falling to the ground. I think I even felt the shake up here.
All right, here's Joe Prokop, a high snap, punting for the 7th time. Fair catch and a bump on Minter. 39-yard punt. Well, a light tap. And so the Jets will go to work at the Green Bay 48-yard line. Next Sunday, we'll continue our coverage of the 85 NFL football season with a twin bill. Start the day at 12:30 Eastern with NFL 85. And some of you will see the Raiders take on the New England Patriots. Bob and I will be there. Seattle and Kansas City in the first of the doubleheader. The Jets in Indianapolis, Cleveland, San Diego, Miami, Denver in the second portion of the doubleheader. McNeil broke a couple tackles to the 46. Picked up 2. Ezra Johnson on the stop.
Scott and Anderson made the tackle.
Tommy Flynn, the second-year player from University of Pittsburgh, came in and led the league, led the NFC in interceptions last year with 9. He's a quarterback in that secondary. At Pittsburgh, he played all 4 years. 3 of the 4 years, the Pittsburgh defense was number 1. Going back to high school, he played quarterback, defensive back, and his junior and senior year, they won the state championship of Pennsylvania both years. Tells you a little bit about the little man.
Off the 2nd and 8. McNeil to the 41. And Temper's player, Ezra Johnson, had some words. Reggie McElroy. McNeil, 21 carries, 50 yards. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, the Jets 17, Green Bay 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the home away from home for the Green Bay Packers. Crowd of 53,666, so only about 2,500 no-shows. And the game being televised in the Wisconsin area. 3rd down and 3. And O'Brien with the first down. Kurt Sohn, who has been a money receiver this week and last week, stopped by the left corner, Mark Lee.
Good play by O'Brien because they had a blitz on. He realized he had everybody picked up and just moved his feet around to where he had some time, waited on his receiver, and completed it for the first down.
49ers convincingly over the Los Angeles Raiders. Just underway, 4th quarter. And the Jets for the first down at Green Bay 36. Nice move by McNeil. And a short pickup stopped by Donnie Humphrey. Right now we're set to go to Bob Costas and NFL 85. Costas getting very tough, lashing out. Oh. All right, here's McNeil. Could not turn the corner.
Holmes in 2, hey?
Yes, I did make that selection. In fact, said no question about it. The added weight would hurt Spinks.
What did I tell you yesterday afternoon?
I must admit. Greasy had it right on the button. He said by decision, but it is surprising.
Youth must be served. Take it to an old man. Once you get out of this football game, you become a young man again. They say you're old at 35. In boxing, the same is true. You're old at 35. As soon as Holmes gets out, he's a young man again.
Let me write that down. 3rd down and 9. Sohn in a battle with Lee. So the 4th down play coming up as O'Brien checks with the bench.
Lee seems to be hurt. He's got a cramp the way they're pulling his sock down. Yeah, you pull the toes of your foot back, it helps relieve the cramp in your calf, and that's what he's got.
And a tough go for Mark Lee. He has made it back after back surgery last February. He's been bothered by a jammed neck. Suffered in the preseason game against the Jets. So Lee is down. And the punting unit comes on for the Jets.
Defense for the Packers has really played very well today. 2 turnovers by their offense. The fumble on the first series and then the interception by Dickey, both inside the 20-yard line, are the only scores, touchdowns that the Jets have been able to come up with against the defense for the Packers. Dickey with a tough day. The only thing you can say for him is he didn't get a lot of work in preseason, and he realizes it. He admits it. He's not as sharp as he wants to be, and Forrest Gregg replacing him, I think, is the smart thing to do. Put in another quarterback with fresh legs and a little more mobility. Maybe he can make some things happen.
That's Lee hobbling off, but you have to wonder about that Green Bay running game. Not able to establish it at all. Of course, they're hoping for better things eventually from Ivory, and that would help matters along the way.
Well, they had Ivory in the second half of the season last year when they went 7-1 and to finish 8-8 on the year. But, you know, some teams are better at run blocking than other teams, and some teams are better pass blocking, and it takes a little bit more work to do the run blocking. It's more technique, it's more precise, and it's a little more work for the offensive lineman. I think if you ask any offensive lineman, he'd much rather pass block than run block all day.
And Dave Jennings will try and angle this one. Over the years with the Giants, Jennings was more of a directional punter. The Jets like to have their punters get some hang time, but in this situation from midfield,
it's a great spot right here to run a fake punt, although it's 4th and 10. Good field position on the 35-yard line. Of course, the Packers are up there. Well, the Packers are aware of that also.
And perhaps they were thinking about it because Jets took a lot of time. Looked to be some indecision.
A lot of times what they'll do is
Penalty will be reduced.
penalty forced used. I think a lot of times you'll go up and line up at the line of scrimmage, you'll have the pass on, and if it's not the defense that you want, you just let the clock run out, and now you'll punt the football.
Minute and a half gone by, 4th quarter. And the Jets leading the Packers 17-3 in a long count. And Jennings looking to angle. No, they'll spot it inside the 20-yard line, and when we come back, it'll be Green Bay to the offense. Back in Milwaukee, Marv Albert with Bob Greasy. Minute and a half gone by, 4th quarter, and the Jets lead Green Bay by the score of 17-3. Here's Eddie Lee Ivory. Up to the 20, picked up 4 on the play. It'll be a 2nd down and 6 coming up. But first, back to Bob Costas in NFL 85. It's coming back big this afternoon.
It's a big surprise, too, because they've had a lot of problems in their defense all week in the papers in Miami. They've been talking about only 2 healthy linebackers, so a big surprise there.
Jesse Clark was stopped by Lance Bell. As the Packers offensive coordinator, Bob Schnelker, one-time superb receiver for the New York Giants. He calls the plays from the sideline. Lynn Dickey was asked the other day, can you ever make suggestions? What options do you have on plays that Schnelker sends in? And Dickey said unemployment.
The only option.
3rd and 3, and right. Intended for Lofton, who slipped. And some conversation in the face of Lofton as he and Russell Carter apparently have been talking throughout the game.
Well, they hadn't forgotten what Lofton did last week. They probably saw that he threw the ball down in the face of one of the Giants' defensive players. And players see that stuff. They don't forget that. That'll be on their minds for a long time. If you're going to cover a receiver and you're a defensive back, you remember those things.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Jackson did call Lofton earlier this week a hot dog, but then tried to pull away and said, of course, he's a great player. Which he is. All right, the punt by Prokop, not a good one. Minter chasing it. Again, the roll. And it will show some distance because of that Green Bay roll, but a flag down, 45-yard punt, credited to Prokop.
Ineligible man on the kicking team, number 43, downfield.
And number 43 is defensive back Darrell Jones. That has been a consistent pose, a look of puzzlement on the face of Forrest Gregg.
was a big game for both coaches. They were both 1-1 coming off of a big win the week before, and whoever wins this ball game is going to go on. They both have games next week. The Colts for the Jets probably a little bit easier than the Cardinals that the Packers go to play, but I think as we look at what the Packers have done in the second half, I think Forrest is looking to get this team back to where they were at the end of last year. The second half of the season, 7-1, but they just haven't gotten the right attitude.
All right, the Jets pushing the Packers back by accepting that penalty, so Prokop will now... No, it's a fake. Does not work. It has all gone wrong for Green Bay as the Jets take it in. Tom Baldwin running it in off the attempted fake punt. A rare smile on the face of head coach Joe Walt.
I think he's a little bit surprised at the decision that Forrest Gregg made to try a fake punt back in your own territory when you're 4th and 10 or 12 or whatever it was. Baldwin, 95, finally picks the ball up and says, this is the shortest run I'll ever have for a touchdown.
23-3 now as Leahy looks to add to it. So a 9-yard run for a touchdown for Tom Baldwin. And the Jets now lead it by the score of 24-3. Tom Baldwin, second-year pro out of Tulsa, scoring the touchdown. That's the first half of our doubleheader next week. LA Raiders playing the Patriots in New England, and Seattle and Kansas City. The kickoff by Leahy. Walter Stanley out to the 20. And tripped up. Matt Munger, the rookie from Oklahoma State, on the tackle. Tom Baldwin scoring his first touchdown in the NFL. Tom says his high school coach used to tell him that defensive linemen should always be mean and ugly. Tom says he fits the bill. A little self-deprecating humor there. No smile on the face of Lynn Dickey. He has been yanked in favor of Randy Wright. Packers first down at the 24, trailing 24-3. And here's Wright. Nice pass. Phillips at midfield. 28-yard pass play.
Well, if you hang around the NFL long enough, you're going to be yanked once or twice. It'll happen to Wright if he stays around long enough. The Jets are in a zone. These men are going to drop straight back and cover a little area. And you'll see at the bottom of your screen, Epps going to square in, catches the ball. Well-thrown football. Good play for Wright coming in, gets his confidence going.
And the first down for Green Bay in the second half. Play action, and Wright goes short. Intended for the tight end, Paul Kaufman. Covered by Lance Mell. 11 minutes left. Fourth quarter, and the Jets now lead it 24-3. The stunner, that fake punt attempt that did not work by Green Bay. The ball fumbled, picked up by Baldwin, and Baldwin ran it in for a touchdown. His first TD in professional or collegiate football.
That call surprised me, Marv, because the Packers, although they haven't done anything offensively all day, were only down 17-3, 2 touchdowns, and if you punt the ball and the ball is fumbled, maybe sometimes the last 2 drives of the day are the ones you're going to score on. This way, if it doesn't work, you're almost giving up on the ball game.
All right, second down play. And the blitzing Russell Carter comes up with sack number 5 on the day for the New York Jets. And I see Forrest Gregg has made a change at left guard. He has Rich Moran, the rookie from San Diego State, replacing Keith Bucher.
The Jets defense have not allowed a touchdown since the second half of the second quarter of the first game against the Raiders. Jets are playing very well defensively.
Third and long. Wright able to connect. Eddie Lee Ivory short on the first down. Kirk Springs right there. And the Packers get going. That was a 14-yard pass play. Miami now leading Kansas City 31-0 in the fourth quarter. Juan Revés, 37-yard field goal for the Dolphins. Marino has thrown for 2 to Bennett and Hardy. Ron Davenport, the rookie Ron Davenport, with 2 touchdown runs. Well, the Packers going for about 4th down and 7. Some jumping. Penalty markers down. A completed pass to Jesse Clark. Mark Gastineau on the rush. All over right, but flags are down.
Defense number 99, offside.
And it was Gastineau jumping.
You know, Marvin, wouldn't surprise me at all. We'll check this. That the Packers haven't outgained the offense of the Jets. The touchdowns have been set up by the Jets defense. The last one being scored by the defense, and the other 2, as we mentioned earlier, on a fumble and an interception. But neither offense has really played that well. The defense is really dominating, and especially the Jet defense.
1 touchdown scored by a nose tackle, Tom Baldwin. 2 scored by Tony Page. 1 on a run, 1 on a pass. 4th and 2. And the first down is picked up by Jesse Clark. An 11-yard play. First down.
So the offside by Gastineau set this play up. Now you can throw the ball short. All you need is 2 yards. The top of your screen, the right of it, 33. Clark goes down, hits into the linebacker, catches the football, breaks the tackle. But it keeps the drive going, and this is one of those next week drives. We're playing for next week as far as the Packer offense is concerned.
First down at the Jet 31. Wright is 3 for 5, 52 yards. And he goes sideline. Intended for Epps. Covered by Springs.
Take a look at Bennett, 78, working against Swanky. Blitz inside. When they have a blitz like that inside now, the purpose of Bennett and the big defensive linemen coming to the outside is to occupy the big linemen and let the smaller linebackers and defensive backs get through and get the sack. They don't like that too much, but they do it.
2nd and 10. Wright able to through the hands of Lofton. Should have had it. And James Lofton is hearing it from the crowd.
He's hearing it from the Jet defensive backs too. You know they're yelling at him. Barry Bennett, 78, on Cook. Bennett was on the right side the time before. The Jets moved their men around. Didn't hit him too hard. Bennett says, I'm not going to hit you that hard. But, you know, when the defensive line have to occupy the offensive line for the linebackers and defensive back to get the sacks, those big linemen, they're not too crazy about that. They want to get it themselves.
3rd down and 10. Over the middle goes Wright. Jesse Clark on the reception, short of the first down, and again a flag. This will be penalty number 25. Called by Bob Frederick and his crew. Not all 25 have been accepted, but it has been another busy day.
Offensive holding, number 65. The 3rd down will be repeated.
That's the right guard, Ron Hallstrom. Called on the hold. 8.5 remaining, 4th quarter. And Forrest Briggs practice sessions this week. Unless there is a miraculous turnaround, should be intriguing for the Packers.
Well, they're not doing too well on 3rd down conversions, and that is a key factor in making first downs, obviously, and it gives you a good barometer about your offense.
3rd down, 20. And it's Rich Miano right on the case. Preston Denard, the receiver, but Miano, 6th-round draft pick out of the University of Hawaii, on the stop.
And a walk-on. Marv went to college, didn't have a scholarship, walked on. He and Munger both, 2 players on the Jet defense. You know, it just shows you that if you don't make it with a scholarship, you can still walk on, make it in college, and then here they are playing professional football.
And it's a 4th down and 15. And right, going deep. Intended for Lofton. Jets have done a good job on James Lofton.
Well, their secondary, anytime a quarterback has that much time and can get outside the pocket with that good a vision downfield, you know your secondary must be doing something pretty well. Elder, 37, is staying with him underneath, has deep help right here. Little contact before the ball is made.
And Lofton with only 1 catch this afternoon for 27 yards. That's been it. We'll be right back.
For over 300 years, they've been
First down at their 37-yard line. 7:33 left, 4th quarter. And the Jets in command, leading Green Bay 24-3. That's Cleaver lining up as the tight end. And here's Freeman McNeil with the hole and has the first down. Tom Flynn and Mark Lee out of the secondary to make the stop.
To the right is to hold the linebackers and move back to the left. Good blocking up front. McElroy, 68, has his man on the ground, but I don't know, Marv, if I'd have my main man, Freeman McNeil, in there at this time of the ball game. 24-3, 7 minutes to play. I know he likes to play as much as he possibly can, but you also need to line up to play another day.
And McNeil carrying once again, so he's had a workman-like 65 yards on the day. Bobby Hammond, assistant coach, relaying signals.
Actually, that time the play had been sent in with a messenger.
Second and 7.
Second down.
Excuse me, Marv. A lot of teams signal him in, send him to use a messenger.
2nd and 7, and O'Brien could not find anyone. Mark Murphy, the strong safety, on the stop.
See, what Bobby Hammond is doing there is saying, you're going to get the signal, you're going to get the play by messenger. Don't look for a signal. We're sending it in on the ground. Now, if it was not coming on the ground, he would have wagged it in by signals. But a lot of teams, Marv, or most all the teams now, are calling the plays for their quarterbacks, and that is because of all of the computerization in the football. They can get these things in categories. It's a lot simpler to do it by the coaches upstairs.
3rd down, 7. A flag has been thrown. A pass intended for Townsend. And the hold against the Jets.
But you know, with the specialization that's going on in football, the coaches feed all this information into their computer. They can find out on 1st and 10 what a team likes to do, on 2nd and long, and 3rd and long, 3rd and short yardage situations. It's all on a computer printout. The coaches in the press box are looking at the different situations. If you get inside the 20, the coach goes to the inside the 20, and they see the defense and they call the play. So it's getting more and more technical, and that's why that the coaches are calling all the plays on the sideline.
And Dave Jennings will punt once again to the rookie from Mesa College, Walter Stanley, who's averaged about 10 yards per punt return.
He also made a couple of bad decisions.
Good hang time. And the fair catch by Stanley. 38-yard punt does the job. Green Bay will start out from inside their 15-yard line. Next Saturday, NBC Sports will continue its coverage of the 1985 baseball season. As you scan today's scoreboard, some of you will see the Mets and the Pirates, while others watch the St. Louis Cardinals battle it out with the Montreal Expos. That'll start 3 p.m. Eastern Time with Major League Baseball. And inside inside look. 5.5 remaining. And this fourth quarter looks like Joe Klecko did some heavy work today.
He's not upset about it. He's just smiling. He likes to get down and dirty.
First down from the 14. Harlan Huckleby carrying for the first time. He's in his 6th year out of Michigan, normally a short yardage specialist. So Huckleby stopped by Clifton. Ellerson and Huckleby now are the running backs. 2nd and 7. Flag throw. And it's incomplete, intended for Lofton. And it's against the pack.
I think it's holding on 68. Cook. Packers in their 2-minute or hurry-up offense. So, Marv, this is the 2nd week in a row that the Jet defense has held the opposition to a field goal. Last week, 42-3. This week, 24-3. And you can't say enough about the defense of Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator, new this year. Doing a good job with a patched-up secondary. Had some injuries back there.
Jets face a 2nd down and 15 for Green Bay, back at the 9. And Wright goes over the middle to Ivory. Eddie Lee Ivory out across the 20. Kirk Springs right there. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Still tough to get a reading on this Jet club as to which are the real guys. They have the rough one against the Raiders, of course, missing some key people like Powell and McElroy. Beat up on a Buffalo club that did come back to respectability today against New England and played the Chargers tough in the opener. And here's Green Bay coming off a good one against the Giants, and bit of mistakes being manhandled. Not in this ball game at all here in the second half against the Jets.
Well, I think Joe Walton will agree with us when we say that the defense won this one for him. His offense really hasn't done a lot. But the defense, with the turnovers and actually producing the final touchdown, is what's won this game for him. And it shows on the scoreboard. Only 3 points they've given up, and they've scored one last week, allowing only 1 field goal. And I think the Jets are for real. I think the first week they went to the coast and were just a little shook up. They didn't have Powell and McElroy, and things weren't settled. But things are only going to get better in the way of injuries. They're going to be getting a lot of players back.
Poor punt by Prokop. I don't think his leg is tired. His 9th punt of the day. The Green Bay record, the club record, is 11 in one game. 32-yard punt by Joe Prokop out of California Poly, Pomona. Had a tryout with the LA Rams last year, then the Giants. 4.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. And the Jets leading Green Bay by the score of 24-3. So the Jets take over from their 46. Johnny Hector. Stopped by Mark Murphy. And Freeman McNeil now getting a rest. Right here, let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
Marv Albert with Bob Greasy from Milwaukee County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Jets over the Packers 24-3, 2nd down and 9 from the 47. Tom Flynn stopping Marion Barber, carrying for the first time. So now Joe Walton doing some shuffling. And Pat Ryan has come on, replacing Ken O'Brien.
It's a nice feeling to be the quarterback or the guy that has really played the most of the game and go to the sideline and let your backup, whether you're a running back like McNeil, let the other guys play a little bit. You've done your job for today.
Page and Minter now in the backfield. That's Page. His second carry of the day, and he picks up the first down. His first was an 11-yard burst for the touchdown. Page scoring 2 more today. He had 2 last week, one on a 5-yard pass from O'Brien that followed the fumbled snap. First play from scrimmage by Green Bay. Then a Del Greco 39-yard field goal made it 7-3. Leahy hit from 25 yards away. It was 10-3. The Jets. Lance Mel interception led to the Page 11-yard run for the touchdown. And the fake punt by Green Bay backfiring. The fumble picked up by Tom Baldwin, and he ran it in for the score. Here's Barber off the left side. Inside the 40, Mark Murphy, the strong safety, on the tackle. So Ken O'Brien doing a little charting here in the final minutes.
Not a lot of charting to do. He doesn't look like he's too familiar with that job, although he should be. Upcoming games, the Jets have Indianapolis, and then they're at Cincinnati. Then that big Monday night game with the Dolphins at New England. Next week, the Packers go to St. Louis and then are home for Detroit and Minnesota before going to Chicago on a Monday night. But the Pack is not back to where they were last year in the second half of the season.
And 2 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. We'll be back right after these words. Joe Walton's New York Jets headed to a record of 2-1, and Forrest Gregg's Green Bay Packers headed the other way, 1 up and 2 down, both coming off bounce-back victories last week. But the Jets with that 24-3 lead. Ken O'Brien now on the sideline. Pat Ryan taking over. O'Brien finished 14 for 26, 139 yards. Had that one excellent stretch on the drive that ended up controlling the football, but the Jets had to settle for a 25-yard field goal by Pat Leahy midway through the third quarter. There's Ken O'Brien in his 3rd year out of California Davis, taking over the starting reins from Pat Ryan last season after Ryan was injured. 2nd and 7. The Jets at the Green Bay 39. Keeping on the ground. Cedric Minter stopped by Guy Prather.
Number 10,
Gastineau with Ben Rudolph. Mark looked like he re-injured his thumb earlier, but able to come back. And Lynn Dickey, who's had a very rough day. 6 for 17, 84 yards, 1 interception. Page stats don't look impressive, but did the job, scoring 2 touchdowns. Here's Minter.
McNeil says, I do all the work, you get all the glory.
Tony Page, the short yardage specialist.
Of course, that man right there, Page, does a lot of blocking for McNeil, so I'm sure his rebuttal to McNeil would be, hey, listen, I get all the bumps and bruises, you get all the yardage.
And a timeout has been called, 1:08 left in the game. Jets with the 24-3 lead on Green Bay. Back in Milwaukee with 1:05 remaining in the ball game. Marion Barber carrying the ball, so the Jets just running the clock down and enjoying it on the sideline. That's Kerry Glenn, the rookie cornerback. Not a sensational day, but certainly a solid afternoon for Freeman McNeil. 65 yards rushing, 2 catches, 37 yards. Of course, anything compared to a week ago will not blow. 192 yards last week against Buffalo. Packers take over at their 37. And a shovel pass. Gary Ellerson.
Packers pulling out all stops.
And as you can see, the clock running down to 45 seconds, time permitting. A wrap-up from the guys back at NFL 85. 2nd down and 6. Here's Wright off the screen. He has Huckleby. Half-minute left.
Going to screen and draw and gimmick offense with the show you a little bit how the defenses have dominated. Green Bay with 165 yards total offense. Jets 34 yards. Not a whole lot of offense today. Defense is dominant.
And this afternoon play will conclude in that manner with the Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots all of 2-1. Indianapolis Colts getting in the victory column by upsetting Detroit, and Buffalo 0-3. And in the NFC Central, Green Bay drops to 1-2. The Chicago Bears on top at 3-0.
You know, Mark, before the season started, I thought Green Bay would be one of the top teams in this division. Of course, you know, you don't hear a lot about Green Bay. You don't know many of the players. Before we came up here, we didn't know a lot of these players. We knew Forrest Gregg was going to do a good job, but, you know, you really don't get to know him that well. But having done the ball game and see him, you know, I'd have to say their defense is solid. They've got a lot of young, no-name defenders and who are going to do a good job. Offensively, they've got a young line, but the real problem is their quarterback, Dickey. He is not mobile, and that's going to put pressure on the offensive line. Now, when he is hot and clicking, they're going to be a strong offensive team, but when he is not, they're going to be in trouble because they don't have the strong running game to go with them.
Nice catch by Huckleberry. And so, at least for the final stats, the Packers will have another first down. And a final timeout has been called by Green Bay. This is strictly a clinical timeout with 17 seconds remaining. Randy Wright, product of Wisconsin. Word is his arm has improved, but the Packers would like to have him throw deep more effectively. That's been the question about Wright.
He was at Wisconsin. Was he with Wisconsin with Al Toon?
Yes.
They tuned up together.
Oh, saving that one for the end. Fortunately.
Save a few good ones for the end.
So 17 seconds remaining.
Al Toon, as you mentioned earlier, getting a lot of tickets for his family. One of the things that you have to convince your family once you come into pro ball is all these tickets aren't free. They think that since you're a pro ball player that everybody gets free tickets and as many as you want.
Well, wait a second. The quarterbacks would get free tickets.
Sure they would.
And Wright to throw deep. Looking for Epps. And it is picked off by Jackson. Bobby Jackson with the interception. So Bobby Jackson has had himself an enjoyable day as the Jets combine to hold Lofton and check it out. Jackson with his first intercept of the season.
Some question starting the day off whether Jackson would make it through the entire game, especially with the deep receivers and the speed. Has a tendon problem in his hamstring. Jackson, always a good defensive back, always sees the ball. Very good play on that one.
And with 10 seconds remaining, the Jets take over at the 20-yard line. Bobby Jackson in his 8th season out of Florida State.
That's your story right there, the turnovers. 4 turnovers by the Jet defense. Scored on 3 of them. This is the end of the game.
And the Jets will just sit on it, and that will do it. In their first regular season meeting since back in 1982, the Jets handcuffing the Packers. The Jets over Green Bay by the score of 24-3. And the crowd reacting to the Packers as they head off the field. We'll be back in a moment.